Up, 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 up. In the club, pocket dog, hey. Yo, what's good, y'all? This is OMA, One Who May Ascend, back again for another Behind the Lyrics of Keep Talking. It is an older song. We dropped this back in 2018, 2019, I believe. I wrote and recorded it around that time for sure. I definitely know when I wrote it was in 2018, somewhere between the months of January and July, to be as specific as possible, because I know where I was when I wrote this, and I was definitely living in New York at the time with some friends. However, I did not record it until I moved to LA, which would have been late August, early September of 2018. And I'm sure I released it within a year after that. To give you a little in-depth synopsis, on the circumstances of the recording and writing the sessions and everything like that. Very interesting circumstances, at least mildly interesting. So I had some friends from high school, from Texas. If y'all didn't know, I'm from Texas. They were living in New York at the time, and this is before I got out there, right? So they had moved to New York. I think this is probably like November of 2017 at the time. And I have a close homie. We go way back. Shout out to YV. He's done a lot of our works, shot music videos with us and everything, from Diamonds of the Rough, which we actually did in New York in Times Square. We did Frank Castle together. We did A Beautiful Mind. Just So You Know, a lot of hits, a lot of the bangers, classic OMA shit, Tormented Souls, OMA, Face Your Fears, Wrath of the Damned, a lot of y'all's favorite OMA classic music videos. That's his work. That's bro's work. We go way back since like junior high and everything. Shout out to him. If we're talking about like day ones, like even before day ones, like real ones, I just got to give bro his flowers. We're still out here rocking together in LA, from Texas to New York to LA together. But anyways, it was him and some other mutual friends that they had all moved out to New York from Texas together, right? And I'm like, sitting back on the porch and everything, like, yo, that's cool, that y'all are doing that and everything. I want to come meet y'all and join y'all, so they're all on their artist, thing, I'm on my artist tip, and, but I'm still out in Texas while they're all in New York, together, and like at this time, doing the New York thing, that's still on my vision board, let alone bucket list, but vision board. I was like 23 at the time before I moved out there, and I came and had to assess the situation, see what they had going out there before I actually moved out there. So I visited, back in December of 2017, and then 1 week later, I was actually out there, and I said, I'm gonna make it work, so I got a job out there and everything. They're hustling, I'm hustling, we're all out there together. And because our schedules don't align exactly, it's just the nature of the game. Like, I had to work and everything, and they had to work, and on occasion we would get together, when we could. And it was really interesting, because I'm thinking, we're all going in there to like support each other and everything. We're not like living in the same place. We don't have the same living situation or circumstance, because I came to the party late and everything. But we're all still handling all of our responsibilities and all that, But I'm thinking we're all, on equal footing. Nobody's quite bigger than anybody else or anything like that, And lo and behold, I find out, and people who I'm talking about, if they're watching this, they'll know who I'm talking about. I don't have to say any names or anything like that. But long story short, I found out, people talking to me behind my back. They're saying like all these kind, respectful things, to my face about my artistry, you know, whether it's them or people on the job, you know, but it was just like a common occurrence. It was a repeated theme, you know, and I always found it interesting. You know, I can respect you if you tell me something, you know, critical advice, you know, to my face, you know, that's one thing. But, you know, if you're talking behind my back, you know, I just can't respect you, you know, as a person, you know. So word eventually got around, you know, rumors are circulating or whatever, you know, I'm definitely like more alternative, you know, I'm quote unquote, you know, not cool music, you know, because I don't do it. You know, this is an expression, you know, of my soul, of my personality when I make music, you know, like not everything is just supposed to like be out there, you know. So like there's a lot of stuff that y'all don't hear, you know, because it's all like personal, you know, it's respectfully, you know, to the audience and fans and everything. Like when I make music, it is for me at the end of the day. You know, I may or may not share what I have, you know, for me, but it's for me at the end of the day, you know. So long story short, because I'm on this like alternative, you know, I'm not on like the hipster, doing everything, you know, just because it's cool. Like, again, this is like an extension of who I am as a person, you know, and I don't do things because they're popular. I do things because it's a representative of who I am, you know. So word got around, you know, I'm not cool or whatever. And it eventually came back to me, you know, and I just found it funny. You know, I'm not really like hurt or taking it some kind of way, you know, because I thought if it was really something, you know, respectful, you know, worth addressing, you know, somebody would have brought it to my attention, to my face, you know. So instead of addressing it, you know, directly, I said, hey, let me make a song about this happenstance, this occurrence, and I'm gonna address it through a song. I think this will make it for great content. And it's funny, ironically, I had somebody had inquired to me about a feature. They wanted to do a collaboration with me, and they sent me the instrumental, but they didn't send me the payment, you know. So I told them, you know, a feature on your song is going to cost this much, you know, and they sent me the production, the instrumental, without paying me, you know. So I was like, I really like this beat, you know. I don't know how you're gonna come on the song or anything like that. It didn't seem any vocals or anything like that. So I don't know who produced the song. Shout out to whoever produced the song. You know, I probably have to go back way deep in my archives, in my files, in my email history to find out if that person was even credited. I think that the tag is on the beat, you know, but I just listened to the beat and I just liked the beat, and that's what I was going through at the time. So I wrote a song to it, you know, and it's probably supposed to have like 3 verses on it, but you know, I just dragged out the hook a little bit longer than it was supposed to be. So that's how we kicked it. That's how we're rocking, you know. So finally write the song and everything like that, and go and perform that song. I said, hey, y'all, I got a song that I want to show y'all in front of the people that are talking about me and everything like that behind my back. So after I wrote the song, I went and performed it to them, you know, and shit was a hit, you know. So everybody was joking and enjoying and having a good time, and shit, we was gambling. I remember exactly where we were when I performed the song. They were like, run that back, and I kept doing it over and over. So instead of having a third verse on it or another feature or anything like that, I said, let me just, you know, make this a longer hook than expected. And they just kept singing the song, kept running it back. They're like, hey, do that again, bro, you know. So that's how Keep Talking came to be. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. Make sure y'all check out the AMV, edited and directed by Maria DC Tomas. It is dope as hell, as usual, as all of her work, you know. So I just had to watch that AMV, you know, for I don't know how many times I've seen it now, but it's up there with among my favorites now, you know. So as of today is Monday, March 31st. I think it's goated. it's pretty goated. So like I said, I've seen it a couple of times. I saw a couple of things that I didn't notice on my first go arounds. Make sure y'all check it out again if y'all haven't already. Check to see. I got a question. Here's a hidden question for y'all, a hidden Easter egg, if you will. Go and see one of the there's a music video that's featured in the AMV for Keep Talking, and it's of one of our other music videos. See if you see that video and you could tell which one that is. And if you can, I guess I'll give you a like in the comments, or pin your comment, in the YouTube comments below. So if you could do that. I also thought it was very interesting and introspective. Some of these things that Maria does on these AMVs, I don't know if she does it intentionally or if it's like subconscious, because these things like really speaks to me. I found it really interesting, that it seemed like me and the other parties, as I was depicted in the AMV and the scientists were, it seemed like we were speaking like a different language. Like I was speaking in code, and they were speaking in what appeared to be English, and I was speaking in like binary, and for me, that's just the significance there is like we weren't on the same wavelength. We weren't communicating, in the same capacity. So we had a failure to communicate. It's like we were on two totally different frequencies. I thought that was really interesting. Another hidden gem in there. But all in all, no matter how you slice it, the whole project was dope. So make sure you check it out if you haven't already. These are side notes, edits, bloopers, if you will, after I recorded the original Behind the Lyrics voiceover. Shared it with Maria and everything. We talked about it. A few things that I forgot to include in the original. I'll just go ahead and address some notes now. For one, although this wasn't the original intended take of the song, what I do like about this AMV that Maria's created, complementing the song, is that it's very reminiscent. It reminds me of this idea that was this quote attributed to Albert Einstein. We're going to go ahead and share a meme of that here. And the idea is that everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life thinking that it's stupid. So this AMV was very reminiscent. It really reminded me of that idea here, where I'm depicted, as this robot speaking in an entirely different language than the scientist. And for me, it reminds me of like a lot of society and what we're told and breaking the mold, Rage Against the Machine. It's like we're told and taught in all of our systems and classes and schooling, that you have to think this one binary way, and if you do this, you either succeed or you fail within the parameters of the society in which we inhabit, and I thought that was very interesting. We challenged those beliefs as artists, and just living as revolutionaries in life in general, so I thought that was very interesting. I thought that was worth addressing here. Another thing that Maria and we talked about is how the Keep Talking AMV is heavily inspired by this book that I just finished reading. And Maria shared with me, it's called I Have No Mouth But Need to Scream. So at the time before, obviously the song was created, but even before the AMV was created, myself, I personally hadn't read or listened rather to the book. I listened to books on tape, audiobooks and everything. But now I have, since I'm recording this part 2 of the voiceover. So I thought that was a very interesting side note. Thought that was something worth addressing here. Gives me like Terminator vibes. I kind of enjoyed the book. I'm not gonna lie. It may have been like a little dramatic in the retelling and the story and everything, but I think the purpose of it was to be dramatic. And for me, it spoke to humanity's existential crisis and living, among itself, and the deep-seated, problems, the rooted problems that we have within, and how if we can't, fix our own problems, how can we expect, future generations and or creations, without giving too much of the book away, how can we expect all of those things that are procreated from humanity to have less struggles, like I said, without giving too much of the book. But yeah, anyways, back to your regular scheduled programming. That's what I had to say about that. Again, shout out to Maria DC Tomas and the team. Shout out to you for checking out this Behind the Lyrics OMA production. Other than that, do what you do. Whatever you do you. After all is what you do best. I'm OMA, one who may ascend. Over and out. Peace. Y'all stay up. We're going all the way up. Eyes to the sky. Good ascendants, and those of you who are new, I am OMA, one who may ascend, conscious trap metal recording artist. Here on our YouTube channel, you can expect exclusive content, some music, freestyles, vlogs, exclusive behind the scenes, so make sure you turn on your post notifications, subscribe, like, comment, share. This is community, this is about family, this is about all of us. Stay tuned, the best is yet to come. We're going all the way up, eyes to the sky.